So right here on your left of your home screen, there's this option to import PowerPoint, and that's what I clicked right here. And then you go ahead and find it in your files, and select open. And so back to what I was saying before was that most everything from your PowerPoint transfers over as far as your graphics are all living in separate images, your fonts stay true, your text boxes are still editable text boxes. The one difference is the animation, so that your animation does not carry over because it's timeline animation versus just entrance and exit animation. So I'm going to go ahead and just click import.
So the key there, yes, is that we're going to be looking at a timeline and storyline that makes timing of animations much more precise than in PowerPoint. When in previous versions of PowerPoint, when you wanted to time something, you would click your mouse and an event would happen. It would either show or hide something, or bring it in from the side, or different transitions. And in Storyline, instead, you have a timeline which shows you in seconds how long your audio would be running, and you can just on the timeline manipulate, say I want this object to start at 10 seconds, for example, and you can listen to the audio and see exactly hear exactly where you want something to show and visually time it instead of having to click, click, click through the presentations like you did in PowerPoint. And because of this difference, that's why you can import all your graphics, but the timings and the animations don't come through because they handle those things differently.
All right, so it is done uploading, and you can see here that we have those 3 slides placed inside of what we call a scene here, and we'll get into all of this when we open up our next file, but just wanted to do a quick demonstration to show you that almost exactly what we had in an existing PowerPoint comes in here just as it was. So you have your editable text box, you have your movable objects, and everything is reflected down here on the timeline. Okay. So it really is pretty much as simple as that, and other than the import, working with a PowerPoint presentation and Storyline is just the same as creating a new file. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this and go back to our home screen where we just were. And what I want to do now is open a previously created project. So instead of selecting new project right there, I'm going to go ahead and select this one down here that I already had open. All right, I can go ahead and get rid of this. So I have this file open already, but typically when we just open a new file, you're going to see this view right here, which is called Story View, where you're seeing all of your scenes and all of your slides all at once. So this gray border area is what we call a scene. And you can create as many as you'd like, delete them, move them around, just like you could with a slide. And then each slide here within your scene, you can also move to new scenes or reorder. The point of scenes is a question that we get often. Why would I want to create extra scenes? There's many reasons that they are helpful. Personally, for me, I have 2 main reasons. A, when you start to really build upon your file and have a lot of slides, it can get pretty unorganized, and it's easy to accidentally drag a slide below, or create a trigger that leads to the wrong slide. So it's really good to have extra scenes for organizational purposes, just so that when you're branching, it has a defined area of where to go to this scene rather than just the next slide. And I know some of that might not make sense right now, but organizational purposes is one of the main reasons. The second reason is that when you're previewing your presentation as you go, as you're creating your project, there's 3 options. You can either preview the entire project all at once, you can preview just one slide at once, or you can preview your entire scene. So maybe I wanted to just preview the quiz that I was working on. And if my quiz is all in the same scene, then I would either have to preview the entire scene or just the quiz slide one by one. But if we put that quiz into its own scene, then we can preview just the quiz slides, exactly what we want, no less, no more, all at once. So hopefully that makes sense. Those are the top reasons for using scenes in my opinion. Okay, so you can see here it says introduction up at the top of the scene. Right here you can rename it. You just double click in there and type, and same goes for all of your slides. You would just double click in there and type, and they're numbered automatically. And you'll also notice that there's a little green flag right by this scene. And that means that it's the starting scene. So the very first slide that your user is going to see when they launch the course is going to be this one right here. So I'll go ahead and show you how to create a new scene. You would just, up here on the left of that green flag is a little button where you can just click like that, and it starts a new scene as well as a new blank slide in there for you. Alternatively, you could also right-click and select new scene or new slide from the drop-down menu right there. So as I mentioned, it's helpful to put our quiz into a new scene. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So right down here, I have a few slides, and this is what my quiz consists of. So I can actually hold down my Shift key and multiple select all of them. You can see they're highlighted in yellow. And then all I have to do is just drag them up here. And you see a blue arrow appear when it knows it's ready to be dropped. And you just let go, and there's your new slides. So I don't particularly want this first blank slide that it inserted, so there's a couple ways I can get rid of it. I'm going to go ahead and just right-click and press delete while it's selected there. Are you sure you want to delete? Yes. Okay, so now we have our quiz in this new scene here, and I'm just going to retitle it up here as quiz. To rearrange slides, you can, or scenes, I'm sorry, you can again use the starting option where I can just set as starting, or you can just drag them around. You can do the same with your slides. So this is selected. If I want that first slide to be the second, again, I'll just drag it down and hold it there until the blue arrow comes. You can also duplicate your slides by right-clicking and just pressing duplicate. And that option is also available up here, as well as the new slide option. Okay, so you can see there's quite a few options just in our story view for how we can edit our course. I'm going to go ahead and delete the ones that I created and kind of undo my work there. Okay. So before we get into kind of learning some more of the features, I want to go over the interface with you. Up here you can see we have a lot of tabs, and there's lots of information on each of those tabs, so we're going to go through each one. First, I'll point out this little A up here serves as our file bar. So anything that you would do from your typical file menu, save as, new file, close, etc. Everything you're going to find right here. All right, so first we're in our home view as we were before. We've gone over most of these items, creating and rearranging new slides and scenes. Also, we have this player button here is where you're going to edit all of the aspects of your player. So your pause and play buttons and your menu, etc., things like that. Oops. Preview is what I briefly mentioned, where you could preview a slide, the scene, or your entire project. You can see it says no slide selected, so we can't see that at the moment. And then publish. So publish options we'll go over at the very end. Next, we have an insert tab. So the insert tab you will use a lot. Anytime you want to insert anything into your course, whether it's audio, video, images, anything, you're going to do that from this slide here. You see there's also an option to record your screen, which we're not going to get into in this introductory lesson, but that is something that's really nice to know for people that use Camtasia and other screen recording applications, that you can actually do that right here natively in Storyline. Okay. Now you'll notice if we actually go ahead and want to go into one of these slides, I'm going to double click it, and now all of these options become available to us. So again, if you wanted to insert, an audio file, you can put right there, or a video, shapes, anything you'd like. So we're going to get into that a little more detail later. Next, I'm going to hop over to my Design tab. So here, the most important element for our Design tab, probably as far as creating your course, from the beginning is your story size. So our story size is the size of our actual canvas here. Currently, you see we have it set to custom. Normally, you have probably one of the built-in ratios, either a 4:3 or 16:9, which are more standard to your PowerPoint sizes. So you would select one of these, or if you have custom graphics, you could create a custom size, and then you would insert your pixel ratio right down here. Okay, and also if you are creating a custom size, I would make sure to have this lock aspect ratio item checked. That way you're adjusting the height and width accordingly. Okay, so you also see all of these themes that are available to choose from. These just affect your background image as well as your color scheme and your font. Just, again, it's really similar to PowerPoint, so I'm not going to go into too much detail here. Here we have the option to set your custom color scheme, which I think is extremely helpful, and a lot of people don't use it, but it's a really great idea to go ahead and set your color scheme before you begin, which you would do, again, you can choose from any of these that they already have created, or you come down to the very bottom, new theme colors. So once you do that, you just select what you want to change. These don't necessarily have to correspond to what you're selecting them as, text background or accent one, because the point is that you'll have easy access to all of these colors once you select them. So let's say I come here and I don't want to choose any of these preset colors. Maybe I have a particular set of RGB colors that we use for the company. So I'm going to come in here, and you can either put in an RGB value code, a hex code, or just select a color from the chooser here. You can also sample any other colors that are on your screen by selecting this little eyedropper. Then you see your cursor changes. I can click over here to this blue, and there it is up in the preview right there. If I press OK, now it's changed that to my blue, and that will save that in my color palette. So I'm just going to click Save for now. And the same thing applies for any fonts that you use. You just pretty much do that exact same process except for fonts. All right. So I'm going to head on back over to that Home tab to just show you what that did really quickly. So if I select my text down here, you'll see this second color now, instead of being black, is that blue and all of the shades of blue. So you can see how much easier that is to access that than to color sample or select previous colors that you've used each time. Change that back to white, and now we'll move on to the Animations tab.